Good conversations are going on. Good conversations are going on according to Dak Prescott. In fact, Dak Prescott said he has a lot of confidence that a deal will get done. This is very different vibe-wise than we had the past handful of weeks. I love what we're hearing here, and we're swinging back in the direction of a Dak deal being either more likely or just as likely as a CeeDee Lamb deal. And this guy gets paid $50+ million this year. Signing him will free up money for CeeDee Lamb. This is the way it should have been. This is the way we talked about it all offseason, in the beginning part of the offseason. Got to get the Dak deal done, then you get the CeeDee Lamb deal done. It seems like it's coming to fruition. I do believe we're going to see Lamb's dynasty value secured by Dak Prescott in Dallas. The most important part about all this is that Dak is wanting it to happen. He's feeling like he's not feeling slighted. He's not feeling like he wants to get out of there and get wined and dined and go elsewhere. He wants to be in Dallas, and he wants the deal to get done. That tells me it's probably going to get done. So hopefully we have good news on the Dak and CeeDee front very, very soon. We got the Atlanta Falcons ready to take the South. They're going to take the South. This team is absolutely going to explode this year. They are making move after move after move. Simmons, Judon, we're going to talk about it all right now. Tank Dell, undervalued. We've got a lot of undervalued Oscars in fantasy football. And we're going to talk about the undervalued board, the doubted, we could call them. This is the doubted. Who else do we need to add to this list? There's so many people doubting every name on here. I hear doubting Donnies and worried Williams and overreacting Oscars mentioning bad things about everybody on the board, especially this man, Tank Dell. Whenever I do any sort of Instagram post at all, talk about his steal of a 4th or 5th round value, people go, oh, he's a third option on his team, Smitty. He's too small. The Fantasy Football Show, that edition, the news edition, the Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern edition. We're going a little live a little early today. We'll go straight into the 8 p.m. hour, but I wanted to make sure I didn't cut you guys short because I'll be doing a little bit of a shorter show, or I was going to. So I said, let's start an hour early to make sure we do about a full hour and a half to 2 hours because I don't want to cheat you out of a show. That show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Chase Brown and Ron Navy coming in with the straight-up wad. Right on screen, right to start the show, says, let's go, $20 holler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 super chat. $20 super chat.
Ron Navy, appreciate you. So Dak Prescott, Ron dropping wads. Dak Prescott, very optimistic, and this is very, very different feel than we've been kind of, looking at the last handful of weeks and really month. But good conversations going on. Dak said again, a lot of confidence that a deal will get done, and that Prescott appeared willing to play on his final year of his deal as evidence of his participation in training camp. But CeeDee Lamb continues to hold out for a new deal. An extension for Dak will likely lower the 2024 cap, which will open the door to get a deal done with Lamb before the start of the season. So this is what we've been saying. Why are we talking Lamb before Dak? Because Jerry is. So we've just kind of lived to accept the fact that he didn't want to sign Dak Prescott this year. The crazy part is Dak has all the leverage in the world. The crazy part is Dak has a no trade clause. He has a no franchise tag clause. So if he was to ball out this year and Jerry's going, wow, I should have signed him, he can't hold Dak at all. Dak would go hit the market, and he surely would. He'd be smart to. If, let's say, no one's thinking the Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl, really, but let's say they become a Final Four team. You know, they look really good. They do kind of what the Lions did last year. They just look fantastic. And even if they lose, they look like they got it all together. They add some pieces in the offseason, and you know they're getting closer and closer. That's the way Jerry, I think, wants to see it play out this year so he can make decisions. But the problem is, Jerry, slap yourself in the face, buddy, because you're not retaining Dak. If Dak blows up and succeeds, you're losing him. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I think this is going to get done. And I thought maybe the last handful of weeks, maybe he's like, I don't want to be here then. But this makes me feel like he's going to make sure it gets done. Dak is going to make sure this gets done. I feel like that is the case. And this will, as that report from NBC Sports that I just read, and this right here indicates that, and as we've said all offseason, the Dak deal makes the Lamb deal more likely. You know, especially with Lamb going up in price. Now, a Lamb deal would make the Ayuk deal even harder to get done because Ayuk, every step of the way, regardless of what it looks like right now, every step of the way, Ayuk has been holding back every time a new deal comes in. Wait a minute, my value just went up. Wait a minute, and we knew that would happen. We told the Niners that all off season long. If they'd pay attention and care to watch a show or two, they might learn something because the Niners don't know how, especially John and Kyle specifically, how to handle the offseason from the end of the Super Bowl until the NFL draft. They're very good after that point, but they don't know how to navigate it. They don't know how. They just don't. Whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo, whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's, one thing after another, the Deebo contract, the Bosa contract, now the Brandon Ayuk contract. Deebo had a horrible year coming off the back of that thing. And Ayuk, I'm fearing he's going to have a very, very struggle bust type year at the beginning portion of the season. And he'll be lucky to fend off injury because holdout players, even hold-in players, Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb are not immune to this. Hold-in players have a much higher risk of injury. It's just the way it is. You can accept it, not accept it. That's not up to me. That's up to you. And we've got Icy coming in with a 10 watt on screen. Icy says, Smitty.
To the moon.
Let's see if we can get these notifications popping. I don't know why they're not making sounds. And let's see if I can change that, fix that. Let me put that on the screen. Hopefully that fixes it. Icy says, Smitty, I need your favorite defense in fantasy this year. I like the Eagles a lot. I think the Falcons now are kind of a crafty little defense. We haven't even got to the Falcons yet. Falcons are winning the division. And the reason you see this man's face on screen is because London, is going to have a great year. But this man specifically is going to see a lot of leads in good defensive play calling and production and good field position and a lot of running in the third and fourth quarter. This is a team, the Atlanta Falcons, that will run the hell out of the ball in the third and fourth quarter. We're going to see a completely different team. We're going to see a winning team. We're going to see a winning mentality. And just the mere fact that coming for those $10 and I got two $10 haulers and a $20 hauler from Edward coming in strong. Just the fact that they're shoring up the defense. First, it's Judon, pass rusher. Oh, they shouldn't have taken Penix Jr. I don't know ball, Smitty. I read over here on another report, or I saw another video where someone was talking out of turn, out of pocket, saying that, the Penix Jr. drafting was such a big mistake. Spend all this money on Kirk Cousins, and now you draft Penix Jr. This was in the plan. Because Raheem Morris 100% decided to do this from the jump. Raheem Morris was interviewed for the job, the head coaching job, when Arthur Smith was trying to get it and got it. And they said, what's your plan of attack at QB? He said, succession plan from the jump. We need another quarterback in for a succession plan. And they said, I don't know. Arthur, what do you think? Arthur said, I'll fly by the seat of my pants. They said, Arthur, you get the job. What a mistake. This time around, Raheem Morris interviews again. Arthur Smith is canned. And they said, you were right. He said, I know I was right. Come on in, young man. They shook his hand and said, you're the head coach. What's he do? drafts Michael Penix Jr. What does the regular I don't know ball world say and react to? Bad move, bad move. You just sent a quarterback to a $100 million deal. How the hell are you bringing in Penix Jr.? Succession plan and security. If anybody watched football last year, you know that Bijan Robinson, probably the best running back in the National Football League on pure talent. That's the way I feel. I know Christian McCaffrey's right there, but he's 28. He's tailing off. This is handing the baton off to Bijan Robinson. He's the number one running back in the National Football League when you consider the future and the now. He's the number one. If you don't believe that, then I'm taking away your Bijan card right now.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
I don't want to hear it. There we go. There we got the super chats popping off now. If you don't know ball, that's okay. Come on in. We're gonna train you a little bit on this, and you can get someone a coffee while you're at it. But don't come into this chat and act like Bijan Robinson isn't in the top 2, but being handed the baton for being the new future of the NFL. This guy Bijan Robinson is looking at field position that you and I couldn't have dreamed of. And if you were a Bijan Robinson, a Drake London, a Kyle Pitts owner last year, you were living in fear. The same fear that Aaron Rodgers goes down and New York Jet players, those fantasy owners were living in as well. Garrett Wilson, just absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. And Garrett Wilson perspective and current owners also live in fear right now. A fear of PTSD to what happened to their quarterback, what happened to Garrett Wilson's trajectory. It was going to the moon. It was going to Saturn. It was going to Mars and Saturn and every other planet you can think of. Garrett Wilson is probably going there this year. But you can't tell me you're not sitting there as a Garrett Wilson owner going, good God, what if this happens again? Can't happen in Atlanta because Atlanta's too smart. Atlanta brings in Zach Robinson, QB coordinator in the LA Rams environment. They say Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, Zach Robinson, young man. We want that kind of action in Atlanta. Zach says, okay, let's make Bijan my Kyron. Let's make London a combination of Puka and Cooper Kupp. Let's go ahead and make our tight end Kyle Pitts a combination of the two as well. Let's take the excess there because honestly, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, a little bit of a balance difference in LA than in Atlanta. Let's give the rest of it to Bijan. Bijan going to the moon. Bijan going to Saturn. This entire team is going to relish in this newfound defense. You bring in Judon. Should have taken a pass rusher, Smitty, instead of Michael Penix Jr. How do you feel about that now? Judon for a third rounder, not saying that the Patriots weren't in a little bit of a bind and boxed in to make a move and they're building for the future, but Judon for a third rounder, now are you complaining? Hey Caleb, are you complaining? Worried William, are you complaining? I don't think so. Or if you are, you're just digging a bigger hole. Penix Jr., Judon, way better than drafting a pass rusher. Then you bring in this guy right here, 4-time All-Pro safety Justin Simmons, and you sign him to a 1-year, $8 million deal. Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons, as stated here by Jordan Schultz, are a lethal 1-2 punch. This defense is going to be absolutely tough. Bijan Robinson, welcome to the red zone, pal. Why don't you take residence here in the red zone? Bijan Robinson, get ready to score 15 total touchdowns.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
Bijan to the mother freaking to Saturn. That's where he's going. Super chats galore. sitting right here. First one I got to address is $20 hauler Edward. Thank you, pal, for dropping that. $20 haulers get immediate attention. Icy, I answered this question, but I'm definitely going to say my answer is Philly. I love Houston. I love a handful of teams. I think this Atlanta Falcon defense is going to be pretty crafty now. I think it's going to be pretty hard to narrow it down to one, but I really like Philly. I think Philly's opportunistic, and I think things are going to be much better under Fangio. Just buckle up, Buttercups. It's going to be a wild ride in the NFC. A wild ride in the NFC. I'm talking about you have the Lions, the Packers, the Eagles. You have the Cowboys are going to be in the mix regular season-wise. I don't know what happens during the playoffs. They don't have the depth, I think. The Falcons, the Cardinals are going to make some noise. The Rams are going to make some noise. And then, of course, you have the Eagles and the Niners as the clear favorites probably to win or to at least appear in the NFC Championship game. And I think that a lot depends on Ayuk. If Ayuk ends up leaving, San Francisco is stripped down a little bit, and I think Philly becomes the lead dog. But Atlanta's going to make noise. Detroit's going to make noise. Green Bay's going to make noise. This is such a strong conference. I mean, it is absolutely lit over here in the NFC. It's going to be such a wild ride. In this $20 hauler coming in from Edward.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat.
Edward, thank you, pal. Eddie from Philly has a draft tomorrow, hoping Lamb Chops gets his deal. Tank Dell to the moon. Eddie, get lammed.
Get lambed.
And I wish you well. Call into the show in a minute if you want to discuss a little bit of strategy. But Eddie dropping fire with the 20 wad. Thanks again, Icy. This is stacking. Appreciate you dropping yours. $10 hauler gets a moonshot
to the moon.
And your question is, I'm back, Smitty. Another year, another dollar. Got to start building a mock draft or a mock roster. Well, call into the show when we open up the phone lines or drop a super chat question along the way, and let's try and build this thing. Sir, I appreciate you dropping a 10 watt on screen.
To the moon.
Moonshot as well. And question is, hey, Smitty, two questions. I was thinking two QBs there. Two questions. One, will you be posting your defensive kicker rankings on the redraft section of your website? I will. There's on the rankings, there should be a kicker defensive tab, and I will make sure to populate that. Let me write that down. And DST kickers tonight. I'll try and put that up by tonight. Thank you for that question. Number two, who are two or three of your absolute deepest sleepers? Keon Coleman in round, hopefully in home leagues, you're getting him in like 7 or 8. You have to take him in like 6 in best ball, but I don't think that's the case. Xavier Worthy, I think, is also another one. 2 rookie wide receivers. I love rookies. It's very well known, but it does kind of change. Like I'm a big rookie running back guy. I would say more times than not, but I understand where the talent is in this class, and it's on the wide receiver front, and I absolutely love Keon Coleman. I love Xavier Worthy. I love Brian Thomas Jr. I think all 3 of those rookies have tremendous value. You could even scoop up all 3 as your rotational wide receiver 3. Chase Brown is a phenom. We go to the Moon Man list, Cheryl, and we say to ourselves, who here is going to pop off from the deepest territory? Let's take a look.
The Moon Man.
So
dropping loads in outer space.
Ford's fantastic at running back 40. I don't know that I would say he's my biggest sleeper, but I like the value. Chase Brown is probably got the most rags to riches potential, and you can cuff him to Zach Moss, his counterpart, kind of right next to each other, and they're both very, very late in drafts. It just kind of depends who you're drafting with, if the people are astute. Benson and Connor, I love the combo, but Benson standalone as a late grab is fantastic. Jaylen Warren, it depends, where you can get him. Mid-season monster list might have some names on there for you. Mason and Mitchell together has been something I've been cuffing in deep leagues with big rosters because I think I'm getting something out of that. Spears is a good value. Javon Baker, but wait on him. You don't have to pick up Javon Baker. There's so many names. We're talking deep sleeper. Yoshi Voss, the wide receiver in Cincinnati, paired with Burton, the rookie wide receiver in Cincinnati. I think one of those two could end up having significant value. I don't know which one yet. Some of these guys you want to monitor for week 1 waivers, and you're not necessarily picking them all up. We love Fields as a QB that's doubted right now as even being the starter. Penix Jr. not going to start, but what a monster to put on your bench. The Buffalo Bill rookie running backs in Davis and Frank Gore Jr., I do believe at some point one of those guys is starting multiple games. Those are some of the deepest sleepers I can really cook up that I feel comfortable telling you to monitor or pick up depending on their ADP. But not all those guys can be held and you can't really do too much with it right now. But those are some deep guys to keep an eye on. Appreciate your super chat. You got another one? Let me know. I'd be happy to answer. But those are a grip of names at least. Why isn't ETN on your Marsmen Saturnmen list? I love ETN. Love ETN. We can only fit so many, Adrian. It's not about like if they're not on the Marsmen, Saturnmen, Moonmen that we can't, that we don't like them. He was a Moonman graduate, I believe 2 years running. So he's been a frequent, Moonman traveler, a frequent space traveler. And he certainly could be on the list at the end of the day. We might shove 1 or 2 names off. If I had to say someone's moving, I think Stevenson's probably just going to remain on the mid-season monster list, I think. Or no, comeback player, of the year, a revenge tour candidate is Stevenson. So
The moon man.
if we take Stevenson,
Dropping loads in outer space.
we could even do this now. I'm not saying for sure I'm gonna do it, but I might not like cement it in. But here's Stevenson. Let's go ahead and grab Stevenson's name here, and let's bring him over to the Revenge Tour section. So if we were to do this, if we were to take Stevenson off, it opens the door for another Moon Man, and I like that because it does feel like Stevenson's more Revenge Tour. And I don't know that I would put my season on the line with Stevenson. Another player that could come off, I would say, maybe I'm not saying he will, but like Zamir's offense worries me enough that if I found somebody that I wanted to put on the Moon Man list and I didn't want to overcrowd it, I could see him being moved to a mid-season monster list or something. But let's go Revenge Tour Stevenson. Now, some of these guys do exist on multiple lists, like Jacobs is a Marsman. You don't have to be taken off another list to get on this list, but these are guys ready to strike revenge upon all the doubters in fantasy football. But ETN is certainly capable of grabbing one of the last spots. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to grab as many unknown players or on the rise players or unexpected, players to grab the last spot or two if possible, just to give people that extra advantage versus just putting on a guy that, we know is great. He's done well. I think the reason why there's a little bit of doubt making his value, third round material in best ball, and, he's a second or third in non-best ball, is because the coaching staff continues to say we need to give him less carries. And Tank Bigsby's been a huge, conversation piece in camp, he's looking phenomenal, and I'm not saying I'm totally buying into that. You can obviously cuff the two very easily too, but that's kind of why you're probably seeing some doubt around ETN this year. The constant talk year after year of we need to lessen the workload. They don't do it, but they keep saying they're going to do it, and just because they haven't done it yet doesn't mean they won't. And Bigsby, we did like him as a prospect, and he completely fell kind of on his face. Maybe he does have a good second year. Keep in mind, Kyron's first year, I was so high on Kyron. Couldn't find a person higher on Kyron. My mistake was not doubling down in the preseason and heading into week 1 his second year. I kind of took a wait and see approach on pumping out all the Kyron content like I was his rookie year. His rookie year, I said he was going to take Cam Akers' job, a healthy Cam Akers' job, and I loved Kyron Williams. But one of my bigger mistakes that year, in my opinion, was not being all in on Kyron again and doubling down, kind of like we're doubling down with Bijan again, but not in a reckless way, not in a way to try and hey, let's try and be right last year and let's just stick to something we said. It's logical, And I think, Tank Bigsby doesn't feel like he's that, but there's something to, hey, don't let a failed 1 year make you think that this isn't going to end up being what we kind of thought it could be, and we did like Tank Bigsby at one point. Big Ant Breaks, appreciate you with the $5 holler. 12-team Superflex Dynasty. I'm about to trade Chris Olave for Jalen Waddle. Am I crazy? No, I think they're very, very similar. I think you could make an argument for Olave over Waddle, Waddle over Olave, and if Hill went down, Waddle would go to the moon. Olave's struggling to, in my opinion, feel secure and safe in his QB situation, but we love Rattler. We're a big Rattler community, and we've talked up Rattler for a while here on the channel, talking specifically about over and over. You may have heard me say that the Raiders crapped the bed, diarrheaed the bed. They had Joe Milton, they had Rattler. I love both those guys. Why not draft Milton and Rattler? If I'm the Raiders and I missed out on Penix Jr., and forgive me for ranting over and over about this, I know I beat a dead horse on this Raiders situation, but if you screwed up and you didn't trade up for Penix Jr., you didn't trade up for Bo Nix, two really good quarterbacks that could guide your future, turn Adams into a Mars man this year. Adams in his last and final probably good year would be a Mars man had he been handed Bo Nix or Rattler and Milton. I would have drafted Milton and Rattler together and said, I think one of them is going to smash. But no, what do the Raiders do? We'll just stick with AOC. We'll just stick with Gardner Minshew. Not going to fly, in my opinion. So I do hope that Olave has value in Rattler. I really, really like him. He's such a sneaky last pick in a Superflex QB play. That's another one, Cheryl. You wanted a deep sleeper in Superflex, Cheryl. You take Rattler at the final pick. That is a fantastic pick. Let me put this over here. Big Ant, appreciate you with the $5 hauler. We got Alec with the $5 hauler. So Smitty is H-Hand, the 2.4 irresponsible 10-man. I know he won't get back to me. No, it's not irresponsible at all. Kyron and H-Hand at back-to-back 12, 13, or in 10-man leagues. Like, look, I'll take Kyron at 10 in a 10-man league, in a home league, if I think he's not getting back and I can't trade down. But H-Hand at 2.4, no, that's not reckless. It's actually Smitty approved. And I Smitty approve any bold take, any second drafted player territory for Kyron or H-Hand. I'd like to see you get both of them in round 2, or anybody out there drafting him in round 2. But I'm not afraid to make Kyron and H-Hand my 2 picks there. I'm not afraid to take Kyron early in your first round pick. I'm just not. I don't care what anybody says. Kyron's going to the moon. We're in August now. Okay, I'm trying to keep Kyron's ADP at bay to the best of my ability. I don't want people drafting Kyron at 8, 7. The moment I say something like I'd take Kyron at 12 as my last pick in round 1, that's the moment that everybody starts taking him 8 overall. I don't want that. I don't want to drive that into your minds and cement in Kyron's a top 5 overall worthy selection, because he is, but you can get him later. You need to take advantage of it. But I totally Smitty approve H-Hand. I don't think I can live with someone beating me with H-Hand. Then take him. Smash.
You've just been
H-Hand around 2. Everybody.
mashed potatoes.
H-Hand's so good. He's so good. I love that people doubt this man. Imagine.
H-Hand. H-Hand.
Imagine doubting this man. Imagine doubting H-Hand. I eat spinach all day.
His haters call him small.
But he is 9 feet tall.
H-Hand
Ron with a 20.
is the man.
gifted spinach membership. Thank Ron Navy if you're getting one of them spinach memberships right now. 20 gifted memberships coming straight out, Ron Navy.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Ron Navy, appreciate you. Alex, what is Alex's question here? Smitty, 8 oh, yeah, got that. Okay, good. Alex, go smash. This one's from Caden. Caden says, do I keep in redraft Superflex Christian McCaffrey round 1 at pick 10 or Kincaid 11th round? It seems dead even. I also targeted Bijan with my second round pick. I mean, I guess, again, this comes down to, you got to ask yourself the question of, is Kincaid and the guy you're drafting in CMC's 10 overall first round spot, what's better? And if it's Kyren, then Kyren and Kincaid beat out Christian McCaffrey. He's got a calf injury. I'm just saying, you get Kyren or Achane or Bijan, like you're saying you're targeting Bijan with your second round pick. What if you just targeted Bijan with the first round pick? Kincaid and Bijan is better. And then if you get Kyren in your round 2 or Achane, then you have a better team. I know it's very easy to see the name CMC and say, oh, do I take CMC? You've got to keep CMC in round 1. But I don't see it that way if what I mapped out is true. Caden, if what I mapped out is true, your team is better to go the other direction. And Kincaid's fantastic, and now you don't have to waste a 4th or 5th round pick on Kincaid, my guy. So that's the way I look at it. Would you trade Tyreek for Bijan? I have Tyreek. In a redraft, I think it's very even. I think it depends on your need. I think in one league, I'd take Bijan at 1 overall or 2 overall. In another league, I'd take Tyreek at 1 or 2 overall. So they're dead even. It depends on your depth. I'm Smitty approving either side of it. There's no, do you like this or this better? I love both of them. Hill and Bijan are kind of tied for my 1 overall. And Adam with a $5 hauler, any advice on maybe looking to trade for a wide receiver or a third running back? I have Hurts, Hall, Gibbs, London, Waddle, Dell, McBride, Coleman, Ford, Benson, and Reed. Thanks, Ron Navy, again for the 20. Guys, please thank Ron Navy if you got a gifted membership, or even if you didn't, because you might get the next one. And if you don't have a gifted membership and you're like, I don't understand, why didn't I get one? Make sure you have that feature turned on in your settings. If someone could describe how you would turn that on, drop that, please. Any advice? I don't know what I would say here. Hurts, Hall, Gibbs, London. I don't think you want to mess with this team, bro. I don't know that you're getting any value for. You could try trading Reed and. Like what? Like Benson doesn't have the value to trade yet, and I love him, so I wouldn't trade him. Ford, people undervalue Ford. He's going as running back 40. No one sees the value there. Reed, I don't want you trading Coleman. I don't want you trading McBride. I love Waddle at this value. I love Dell. I love London, Gibbs. I'll be honest with you. Trading, to try and get another wide receiver is taking away from your running back stable. I don't. The only thing I would even consider doing is if you could trade like Reed and maybe, I don't know, Reed in London or Reed and Waddle for just even a slight upgrade. Like, I consider that, if you can get somebody sleeping on Chase because they're tired of him not showing up. Like, something weird like that. Other than that, there's no way to move with this team. I think you're sitting pretty. I would probably stand down at this point.
Alert. Stand down order in effect.
I think you really be doing yourself a disservice by making a move away from one of those guys. I love your team. I think your team's fantastic. For the past message, I'm in a redraft PPR league, says Adam. Adam, appreciate you again for dropping both of these wads, my guy. and you tell me it's a PPR redraft, doesn't change my tune at all. I love Gibbs. I love Hall. I love Hurts. I love your wide receivers. I'm not trying to trade any of them unless I'm upgrading Waddle slightly using Ford or Jaden Reed. That is it. That's the only thing I could even think of. That team is absolutely phenomenal, my guy. Such a good squad. You're creating one hole in that ship by trying to fill another. And there's not even really a hole, but my analogy holds strong that you move something, you're going to create a hole, and you fill something else, that's fine, but I don't think it's going to be anything. Hit that like button. We are very low. 74 thumbs up and 300 people in the building. Ron's not happy. Don't be hazy or lazy. Exercise your fingers and smash the like button. I agree with Ron.
Mashed potatoes!
Whoa. We gotta start that over. There we go. Can't fumble the ball. Looking like a Deontay Johnson out there. Smitty, why you hate Deontay Johnson so much? And that was a $20 hauler by Ron, by the way. What am I doing?
Alert. Super chat alert.
All right, Ron, appreciate you, my guy, coming in strong all day long. Every day. What do we got here? SGT just became a member. SGT, appreciate you becoming a member, pal. SGT said, I'm going to do it on my own. I don't need somebody to gift it to me. I'm going to do it on my own, and I appreciate that about SGT. Caden with one more super chat. Then we got to get to the news here. Bijan 20 TD season loading. That doesn't shock me at all. That doesn't shock me at all. And Ryan with the super chat, a $5 hauler. Appreciate you, Ryan. Ryan says, what's the earliest you would take Deebo if Ayuk goes to the Steelers? Probably like the 1-2 turn. Like not in round 1, but I'd take him at 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Depends on the format. The further you get him into round 2, the better. But Deebo is a locked and loaded anywhere in round 2 player if Ayuk is in Pittsburgh or if Ayuk is elsewhere. But if Ayuk stays, I would say he's still round 2 because that's where I had him before there's any like kicked into gear trade situation. You know, like he'd requested a trade, but the Niners are fully not trading him at one point, and I still had Deebo in the round 2. But I'd say he's better at end of round 2 than top of round 2 with Ayuk there. But Ayuk's going to struggle. Even if he doesn't, Deebo's cemented into so much of the workload. Okay, Dak Prescott again feeling like a deal's going to get done, and that's very encouraging that Dak is talking like that. Falcons making moves on defense. They've got Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons as their 1-2 punch at safety. It's going to be unreal. And adding Judon is just such a strong move. This defense is going to help the offense. The offense is going to help the defense. Jordan Addison, I don't see him missing an extended amount of time, says O'Connell, except for his 3 suspended games for being a reckless Roger. Stay out of the vehicle. Take Ubers. Get this man a driver, for goodness sake. Matthew Stafford. Rams head coach Sean McVay said he expects Matthew Stafford hamstring to return to practice next week. Don't consider this a big deal. It's tightness. It's not a grade 2 tear in his hamstring or anything. Similar to Jahmyr Gibbs. People reacted crazy about Jahmyr Gibbs, which I have that news here. If anybody missed the Jahmyr Gibbs news, I can put that on screen and we can discuss that as well. But Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be fine. Everybody freaking out on their Jahmyr Gibbs front. Your boy told you not to freak out. Your boy told you that Jahmyr Gibbs, these overreacting Oscars, were going to present an opportunity for you to get this man at second round value for a very short-lived period of time. And now Gibbs is probably back at the 11-12 overall if you're drafting today. This report right here, he's expected to be 100% healthy. My understanding is he should be ready for week 1 versus the Rams, according to Jordan Schultz. And it's a very precautionary move just because they don't want their boy out there causing a problem when he doesn't need to. They know what he can do on the field. He's not going to lose any sort of momentum by sitting out the next couple weeks and rehabbing. He's not going to be sitting on his rear end, letting the hamstring fester and go, I wonder if it'll be good when I go out there and pop off and explode the damn thing. No. He's out there rehabbing with bands and doing things to get it healthy and strong. He's not sitting there, and he'll know if there's a problem. He'll feel tightness during his rehab. But if he doesn't feel tightness during his rehab, he'll only strengthen it and be fine. Jahmyr Gibbs to the mother freaking moon. Jahmyr Gibbs to Saturn, actually.
To Saturn.
And if you didn't know why Jahmyr Gibbs was the man,
To Saturn.
going to Saturn. Jahmyr Gibbs. Matt Milano. Oh, God, this guy. Torn bicep, out indefinitely. Some say be back in December. I mean, what a blow to the Buffalo Bill defense. I mean, God, this is horrible news. You know, stay healthy. Chase Claypool, potential best playing wide receiver. This is why you don't listen to camp news and all that BS. Claypool looks like the best wide receiver on the field in Buffalo. He's released. He's not. Claypool's not doing anything. Remember what I told you when that news came out? Claypool looked like the best wide receiver on the field during camp. I said to you, too much time has passed. Jerry Jeudy ain't doing dog shit. Neither is Chase Claypool. You missed your window, and you missed your window. That's the bottom line. The bottom line. So I'm going to put that right here. I think that's all she wrote. On that note, so news out of the way. I got super chats inbound. Let me show you a little something. We got super chats rolling in here. Sean, $10 holler. $10 hollers get moonshots. There you go, pal. Appreciate you. Sean says, hey, Smitty, half PPR, 12-man, 3 keepers, start-up league keepers that can be kept. Keepers that can be kept up to 3 years. Which of your rankings should... I gotta bring this over here because for some reason it's blurry for me. I can't even read it. Let me increase it here. There we go. I use Dynasty or Redraft. Of the rankings, which one of the rankings should you use on the site? Dynasty or Redraft? I would say probably the Dynasty rankings. If there's a 3-year keeper value to it, even though it's not pure Dynasty, that will give you a sense of on the website. He's talking about on the website, thefantasyfootballshow.com. If anybody else wants rankings on thefantasyfootballshow.com, bold predictions, make sure you hit my site. It is, it's why I got into the business. And I got into the business because in 2003-ish, there was no instant-based Dynasty or Redraft trade calculator. There were no trade calculators at all. There were downloadable products where you could download, insert your team, etc., etc. But your boy decided, I want to get into this business around 2003 because there are no instant-based draft simulators, no trade calculators. And so this is what this site is. Use code DRAFT to get a 10% discount, very short period of time. Do it live. But yes, rankings over here for anything keeper related, you'll probably want to use the Dynasty rankings. But keep in mind both, like look at them, try and get to know them so you can see a little bit of the difference. But let me know if you have any questions regarding your keeper players, Sean. I'd be glad to assist you with that. This one from Interest says, hey, Smitty, 12-man league. I have Mahomes, Hill, Ayuk, Pollard, Warren, Kelsey, Amari, Pickens, Musgrave, Jameson Williams, McLaughlin, JSN. Who would you trade for a running back? I think, okay, so Hill, Ayuk, Pollard, Warren, Kelsey, Amari. Very solid. Very, very solid team. I would say probably looking at maybe trading away Amari Cooper for an RB. Warren, you're not going to get any value with. Amari and Pollard, maybe you could try your best to go get something like a Kyron. I don't know that you pull it off, but like I'm clearly trying that. Other running backs that you can maybe go get. Josh Jacobs feels like he could be in that ballpark. You trade away an Amari Cooper and a potential Pollard. I think you could get Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs could be a top 10 running back. That would be a fantastic move for this team. I love ETN. We just talked about ETN having some doubted value for whatever reason. I think Connor and Benson are a great combo to acquire if you're using something smaller. Ron Navy with a $5 hauler. If we get to 200 likes, I'll gift another 20 memberships. We've got 109 likes right now, 300 people in the building. Ron's dropping 20 more gifted memberships when we hit 200 likes. Smitty approved. Okay, thank you, Ron. Appreciate you dropping that. Nicholas, thank you for your super chat. $5 hauler. Should I work out a trade for another running back or upgrade wide receiver tight end? 12-man league. Kyler is your quarterback. JD, Bijan, Gibbs, Achane, Algier, Deebo, Pickens, T. Higgins, JSN, Xavier Worthy, Bowers. Look, I love Deebo and either Pickens or T. Higgins with Worthy with JSN. I think you can get rid of either Pickens or T. Higgins in a trade if you're trying to potentially go get yourself an RB. I think you got the wide receiver depth to maybe work that out. I think the guy I just named in Jacobs is one of those guys. The only thing I would say is you want to get another RB, but you have Bijan, Gibbs, and Achane. Like you're pretty damn solid. If it were me, and I would have focused on this in the draft, Nicholas, and I've been cranking out this constant, info all offseason long, so I don't know if you just didn't list them, but having the trio is critical. And if this running back stable just had the trio, you wouldn't need anything else. Even if Gibbs missed 4 weeks and the hamstring injury got worse or something, Bijan and having Achane, Mostert, and Wright would secure you up. I would focus on trying to get those backups maybe. I don't know if one of them's even out there on waivers. It seems like a small team, small benches, but I'm certainly not in the mode of getting an RB if I've got that room backed up properly, because that room backed up is the second most important cuffing situation, and you need all three. Don't listen to somebody that says you can't spend 3 picks on one position and say, I've never heard that before. Well, you've never heard of this running back room before either. This is unusual. This is different. This has never happened before ever, this type of running back situation. So it warrants a different approach. As far as trading a T. Higgins or a Pickens for Josh Jacobs, I still Smitty approve that, but I don't think you need that. I think you do that, you're creating a whole wide receiver that I don't like. I love Worthy. I don't mind getting Worthy in my lineup, and I don't know that I'm against trying to trade Kyler, who I love, to try and get a Hurts or a Josh Allen or someone like that using T or Pickens and then putting Worthy in that spot. I don't mind that at all. That would be what I would do more so than go get a running back. You don't need a running back. You just need to cuff it right so that you're secured up and safe. I need a moon man for Marvin Harrison Jr. I need a moon man for Marvin Harrison Jr. You mean a moon shot? How about a Saturn shot, pal? Because Marvin doesn't mess around with the moon. Okay, this guy's on Mars and then he goes to Saturn. He doesn't have time for Mickey Mouse moon games. This guy deserves a Saturn emoji.
Saturn.
I think that's what you meant there, Lewis. Lewis, appreciate you dropping the $5.99. Lewis also says, can I get a mashed potatoes for anxiety? Yes, you can, pal.
Mashed potatoes!
Appreciate you dropping the wads. Rock out if you want to call back. I know you called in and I had you on hold there. Dial back in, pal, and I'll help you right now. Ben with the $2 hauler. I want Rachaad White over ETN. Take a lap. I wouldn't say take a lap, but I want ETN over Rachaad White. But anything can happen. Injuries can happen. All those types of things, pal. And let me show you one more thing. Let me show you one more thing.
Hi. What would you like? Footballs, please. Lots of footballs, please. Coming up. He's Marvin, he's 11 feet tall, and he loves to consume the football. He's Kyler, he's 4 feet tall, but starving Marvin will answer the call. They're Kyler and Marvin.
These guys are going to be phenomenal. Silver says top 5 wide receiver this year for Marvin. I totally think that's in the cards, no doubt about it. This guy's special. He's not like any other wide receiver we've ever seen. Phone lines are open. Dial in, and that boy drops a 2 wad. Says 2 QB, 3 wide receivers, double flex. What's the positional values? What's the positional values? Double flex. What do you mean? What's the positional values? I mean, 2 QB, 3 wide receiver, double flex. Are you saying, like, are we taking quarterback early? Of course we are. Are we taking 2 quarterbacks? I'm still of the thinking of, if it's not a mandatory 2 QB, if it's a super flex, there's a big difference. Super flex, I'm still loving the Penix Jr. with Cousins late, and I'm loving the Fields and Russell Wilson with Penix Jr. Maybe even a little Rattler action at the tail end of your draft. That's what I'm all about. Bo Nix is starting to look like a fantastic QB2 in a super flex, and he falls very, very far. Mandatory makes me think a little bit more that boy toward going QB just a little bit if it falls right, but I'm not forcing it. I'm still very much trying to read the flow of the draft. How late can I wait to get Fields? How late can I wait to maybe go Bo Nix? Because I'd rather have Bo Nix than, I don't know, Stafford or somebody in round 2. I'd rather have Bo Nix later and then afford myself to get that St. Brown, that Gibbs, that Kyron, that Achane. Rock out. You are live, young man. What can I do for you, pal?
Yeah, like the last couple of days have been like some missed messages about Dotson maybe not really being the wide receiver too.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think, at the end of the day, who decides who the number 2 wide receiver is? JD5. It's not like the coaching staff can say, hey, I want you to throw it here. First of all, JD5 is going to change plays. He's going to check down. He's going to constantly be altering, play calling at the line of scrimmage and stuff. He's definitely going to be a rogue operator on the field. Not in a bad way. And he's going to be afforded that luxury because he's smart and he knows he can see the field. So I'm not too worried about that. I do think that we got to look at this thing and say, first of all, this comment, the first thing that came to my mind when these reports surfaced that let me see if I can pull it up too and put it on the screen. But when it surfaced that the Dotson may not be locked in as the 2 and they're looking to maybe like find their wide receiver 2. And that doesn't mean like on the open market. It means within their stable. I think number 1, it's lighting a fire under Dotson. Number 2, I think it's lighting a fire under McCaffrey. Saying McCaffrey, the sky's the limit for you. All you got to do is take it. There's a lot of receiving talent on this team. And the first thing I thought of, though, was maybe they're going to, in the 11th hour, get back into the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes. But I think that's hopeful thinking. I also don't know if it's what Peters wants. I think Peters is looking at Ayuk like maybe he knows he's a drama, filled situation. I don't know. I'm not saying that he wouldn't trade for him. At one point, I really did very much want this to be that situation. I wanted to have JD5 paired with his best friend, but I don't think JD5 needs it. But this is the report here. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn said the team is in the middle of a search for wide receiver 2. This doesn't mean Dotson's not in the mix. It just means that it's...
He's in the mix.
It just means...
how it goes.
Yeah, it just means that he's got to prove himself. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. It does make me think 100%, though. 100%. That there's no confusion about who the number 1 is. This guy, Terry McLaurin, who has the capability of being a top 10 wide receiver under JD5's command. The doubted right here, and if anybody wants to throw another name out, we'll throw a name up. But the doubted right here, this is just a growing list. I think maybe I'll keep this list growing, and we'll make this a regular thing we pull up. But the doubted, I love that the doubted have such a negative-based, fan club. Each one of these guys, Walker, he's misused. Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. It sounds like Ryan Grubb and the Seattle Seahawks are going to make this guy a real 3-down back. Walker is a fantastic pick this year. Absolutely love him. I hate that he's going super high in home leagues in non-best ball, because sometimes he'll go like at the 2-3 turn, and that's just way too high. Not that he can't earn it, but you want to, best ball he's going in like the 5th round and sometimes later. Jacobs, this guy could be a top, I don't know, say 6 to 10 running back. And his counterpart, the rookie Lloyd, everybody's worried about Lloyd eating into his workload, is already banged up, and he hasn't really proven himself. He hasn't even really grabbed the number 2 job yet. And we know that A.J. Dillon ain't taking crap from Jacobs. Jacobs is penciled and cemented in. I might even do a video tonight on Jacobs alone. He's penciled into the PPR work. The third down work, the reception work, it's Jacobs's to lose. A.J. Dillon's not taking that. And A.J. Dillon is currently right now the number 2 running back. I'm not scared of that at all. Jacobs is going to the mother freaking, I would say moon, but he's going to Mars. I need to get a Mars to Mars button. I don't know why I haven't done that
he's going
yet.
nuclear.
I mean, Jacobs is going to go crazy. London, some reason he continues to be the doubted man. I love that. I can't believe people keep doubting London. I don't understand it. Smitty, last year, who cares about last year? They got 2 quarterbacks now. I heard somebody running their mouth. I forget where it was, if it was on like ESPN, but running their mouth about, London, it's just, what if Kirk Cousins' Achilles tendon ends up being an issue again? And it's like they forgot that they drafted Michael Penix Jr., and they don't have the safest QB room in the National Football League. Jaylen Warren, as much as Najee's gonna maybe, it should have, a handle on at least trying to keep the job and getting a nice little shot at it. This guy is cemented into a certain portion of the PPR work, and that right there gives him 1/3 at least, or 1/3 close to 1/2 of the entire running back room work. So when you ask yourself, who's more likely to flip the script on the other, it's not Najee. I don't think Najee's going to flip the script on Warren and take his receiving work. I think Warren's locked into that, and all he has to do is eat into Najee's workload on first and second down a little bit more, and all of a sudden this guy who already has at least 1/3 of the work locked in turns into the majority, workhorse over in this very run-heavy system led by, we hate him, Arthur Smith. There's very few people we can say that word about, but we can't stand this guy. We can't stand him. I can't stand him. You can't stand him. But they are going to run the ball a lot. And what has he historically done? Started the guy that's the number 2, not the number 1. So it even more so feels like Warren's going to be the guy. But Warren runs angry. He's hungry. He can catch the ball. He looks bigger and stronger and faster than ever. There's nothing but highlight film after highlight film of this guy in camp, just taking on the biggest defensive lineman on the team, winning in head-to-head drills where he's smashing against these guys and he's throwing them to the ground. This guy is going to be a pass-protecting monster. He's going to be in there on third downs. He's going to be catching footballs, and all he has to do is take some of Najee's job. And once he does that, I think he's going to be so impressive. There was a point when Canada was removed from the situation last year, and this guy, the week prior, if you remember, was on the verge of taking the job. The news was that they're going to turn to Jaylen Warren moving forward. And then they switched things up, and Najee got one more start and one more shot at it, and he kept the job. He did fairly well, but he kept the job. We were literally a millisecond away from Jaylen Warren being anointed the starter, and that got derailed in the last second with the changeover in Pittsburgh. I have a feeling that what we were thinking was going to happen at that moment in time last year, it happens this year. And Jaylen Warren's going to be league-winning potential. AR5, people keep doubting he can be an accurate quarterback. Just wait. oh, it's too small of a sample size to extrapolate. You can't take his 2 games he played, 3 games, 2 full games, and try and extrapolate it out. By the way, Bengals running back, what's his face? Evans suffered a devastating injury here. So let me report this real quickly. Bengals running back Chris Evans suffered a torn patellar tendon during today's practice. I've suffered that injury. It's brutal and will miss the entire regular season. Devastating blow for the former Michigan star who is having a strong camp. Just makes Chase Brown even more of a Chase Brown. Prayers up to Chris Evans. We're not trying to celebrate that injury. We wish you well, but Chase Brown can take it from here, and he's going to the mother
To the moon.
Another doubted player. This might make that a little less doubt, but AR5, get ready. It's coming. McLaurin, get ready. It's coming. Walker, Tank Dell. I did a post on IG where I said Tank Dell is one of my favorite 4th round players, and of course there's 4, 5, 6, 7 messages of people going, Tank Dell? He's the 3rd option on the... I can't imagine the 3rd option on the team doing well, Smitty. And then I haven't said it yet, but I'm going to be dropping a lot of coffee emojis and saying, give me a coffee, give me a coffee, give me a coffee. Imagine doubting Tank Dell. Imagine thinking Tank Dell was the 3rd option on the team, first and foremost. Tank Dell is an absolute gem in round 4. He's glory. He's glory. And we got a few super chats here. Rock out, hang tight for me real quick. Matt with the $4.99 says, what's good, Smitty? Grade my draft. 12-team PPR, Bijan, Laporta, Nico, Ayuk, Pickens, Najee, Swift, Purdy, Zeke, Trevor Lawrence. Where's Jalen Warren? Matt, I like the team. Bijan, fantastic. Swift, I'm not a fan of. Zeke, I'm not a fan of. There's a few players here I don't like. I love Jerome Ford. That could save you there at running back. But I'd be a little bit afraid of your running back, too, having somebody all year long there. Laporta, Bijan, love it. Nico, look, Nico is was he your 2nd round pick, though? Who was your 2nd round pick? I don't like, he's a little high there, Laporta. That's where I would have said maybe, like, Matt, you're asking my honest opinion. I hope this doesn't deter you away from super chatting in the future. And, you're going to get my honest opinion. I'm going to say this is a 7 out of 10. It's not a 6 or a 5, a bad draft, but just a couple reaches. And I love Nico. I love him. I really do. I think people think I hate Nico Collins. I don't. If Nico was going in round 4 and Tank Dell was going in 2, this would be a Nico Collins show. Like, it's a lot of it's about cost of entry, and I love both of them. They're both going to be rotational, number 1 overall wide receiver, just like they were last year. I like Tank Dell a little bit more if they were like side by side in round 4. I really do. But Nico Collins is too early in round 2, but that's where we're taking him. It doesn't package in any risk. I like your team. I like where your mind's at with it. I just think we did a couple reaches. Inside track on any injury news. Hang tight, E-Rock. Kevin, appreciate you. Kevin says, Smitty, I got a Moon Man nominee. Are you guys seeing these super chats? They're lagging for me today, and they're like, I think they're showing up on the live stream okay, but on my screen they're blurry and they're snapping back and forth. Hey Smitty, I got a Moon Man nominee. How about Brian Thomas Jr. Going around 10? Absolutely. We talk about him all the time. Brian Thomas Jr. is a rising star. This is an amazing eclectic group of wide receivers, and whether it's going to be Brian Thomas Jr., whether it's going to be Keon Coleman, or whether it's going to be Xavier Worthy, I think we're looking at 3 wide receivers there that can absolutely smash and be wide receiver 3 home runs, win a league players for you. Joe, appreciate you with the $5 hauler, 12-team PPR, 3 wide receiver set, and you have the first pick. Who are you taking in round 1, 2, and 3? Joe, I can't tell you who I'm taking in round 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't work like that. I need to know who's on the board. I need to know. At the end of the day, I'm probably going. If you told me you could get Kyron and Achane at the 2-3 turn together, then I'm taking Tyreek Hill. If you think that running backs are going to fly off the board, Kyron will be gone at 13 or 14 in your home league, Achane ain't lasting to the end, then I want Bijan. And then I'm going to draft Tank Dell, and I'm going to draft, DK Metcalf and Tank Dell. I'm going to get Deebo and Tank Dell. My wide receiver room is going to look phenomenal, and I don't need to draft wide receiver early if it's running back heavy. So I'd say Tyreek Hill, Achane, Kyren, if I had to give you a team that I can envision drafting, or Bijan. And then honestly, I'm not saying I'm taking Tank Dell and those guys at the 2-3 turn. I'm just saying those are my wide receivers. I'm trying to go RB to the best of my ability in home leagues because I feel like it's the best approach. But I wouldn't be scared to go even Josh Allen at the 2-3 turn. It really depends on who's on the board there, bro. Deebo would be fantastic in round 2 if he could fall. So if you were to go Bijan, Deebo, and Josh Allen, I love that. You want to go Mahomes in round 3, or you get AR5 in round 5 or 6. You get Jordan Love in 6 or 7. I love those approaches as well. But I can't really give you an exact. I hope that you can go Kyren and HN in the 2-3 turn. Then I would say Tyreek Hill would be fantastic. But Joe, hard to give you an exact team to draft there. Everything's about best player available, flow of draft. Call in if you want to discuss scenarios, Joe. But definitely love that you're trying to think it out. Ron Navy, you're live.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
I need my steak.
Nice.
But
What's up, Rob?
I just surprised. I thought I would hear you say you're not high on Swift. I never thought I'd hear you say that.
I've said it all off season. I've said it all.
I know, but I
yeah.
just thought everyone say it.
We haven't put up the Uranus men.
And off he goes to the planet known
he was
as
one.
Uranus.
He was one of the first Planet Uranus men that we listed in the off season. We haven't pressed this button in a while. Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Edwards, J.K. needs to be on here as well. Pollard, Devontae Adams, Quentin Johnston. I remember when I put Quentin Johnston on here, people lost their mind at first. They're like, he's looking good. Now everybody's like, never mind. This needs to be J.K. Dobbins on here. But yeah, I'm definitely. What?
Quentin Johnson, don't you think at his cost of entry this year that I love his value?
No, I think he's.
I love his value.
I think he's one of the worst receivers in the league. Bro, he's dropping everything. He's dropping everything. He's a liability. When he's the worst receiver in the league because he's a liability, like you got third down and 3rd and 6, you throw it to him and he drops the ball. That makes him the worst in the league. He has literally been dropping everything. His whole team is like shaking their head at him. He is an absolute liability on the field. He's a body catcher. He can't catch the ball with his hands. He has to use his body. You know that photo with the guy from The Office where he's shaking the hand? He's kind of got the mullet. He's shaking the hand. It's the meme everybody uses when somebody does something unexpected. Whenever he catches a ball, it's like I picture that meme of him shaking the guy's hand like, I don't know how it happened, but I got it. Quentin's horrible. I wouldn't draft him, period. I wouldn't even draft him in the final rounds, period. Not to mention Harbaugh. You got to worry about Harbaugh? You got to worry about Harbaugh using him.
Well,
no.
That makes Brandon Rice even more special as the last round pick.
I want nothing to do with any of those guys. You can't predict what Harbaugh is going to do. It's going to be a run-heavy system, some sort of, no one person rules the world over there. I just don't want anything to do with the Chargers. You never know. But Quentin Johnston's a body catcher. Want nothing to do with him. Brandon Rice, I like. McConkey, I liked going into the draft, so it's not like I hate Lev McConkey, but problem is he's a real raw talent, and he's also smaller, and those things are okay when the player falls in the right situation, like Tank Dell. Overcoming his size and like all that stuff. He's a player I loved at his. Even if he was smaller, I loved the fact that he could bring a lot to the table in Houston. Had Tank Dell gone somewhere else, it may have been a different story because situation is king. But Quentin Johnston, he is going to be hard pressed to be in the starting lineup by midseason, and that's partly to do with Harbaugh, but also because he's just going to continue to fail. On top of that, he's in his own head at this point. Like, they're throwing him easy lobs, and he's dropping them, and he's just, like, putting his head down, and the whole team is fed up with it. They're like, bro, you got to catch the ball. He cannot catch the ball with his hands. He can only catch the ball with his body. If you're the quarterback, you got to throw at his chest like that, and then he'll catch it. I don't know. We'll see, Ron. I disagree, but
you scared the hell out of me. Because you come out, and I'm sure you scared probably everybody else, I don't know, but you're like, oh, bad news for Evans. And I'm thinking Mike Evans. And here you come with Chris Evans. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Jedi with the $5
All right,
help.
I'll let you go.
All right, Ron, eat that, enjoy that steak. Send a photo. I'll put it up on the screen.
All right, we'll do.
It's going to have butter all over it. I know it. All right, later, Ron.
Later.
He knows that, putting butter all over a steak, that just, that makes me hungry. That makes me hungry. Jedi, unlimited, in a now unlimited 10-man keeper league, unlimited amount of years. I have AR5, Bijan, Gibbs, Jamar Chase, Puka, Dell, London. Come on, bro. Laporta, come on. Grade, what do you want? 10 out of 10, Jedi. You're playing with 4 people that are in a coma and 5 others, because it can't be, I don't know, it's just an 8-man league. It might be an 8-man league. 4 people in a coma, 3 others don't even know what football is, and you're beating them, you're beating the daylights out of them. I mean, this is a glorified overuse of power over other individuals. I mean, you got a 10 from me. You got a 10. I very rarely give 10s out, but what am I supposed to do there? Thank you for the super chat, Jedi to the moon. Lambasting his league. Can't even be a real league. That's one of those bar sheets at the sports bar. It says draft year. Pick anybody. Everybody can pick anybody they want. You just check 3 running backs that you want, 1 quarterback that you want, 3 wide receivers that you want. That's what that looks like. Jedi, you smash them to pieces. Let me go over to, let's see here. Eddie from Philly, and then Lucas, and then Elvis. Eddie from Philly, you're live, Eddie.
What's it good? You want to talk about a liability? Jalen Rager having him as an Eagles fan picked right before Jefferson when he was on phone on the stream. That is, me and my friends talk about it all.
Yeah.
What
was hilarious was the Vikings draft room when they're like, the Eagles took Rager. That means that the JJ's there. They're like, oh my God. They like couldn't believe it. Like, it was hilarious. But yeah, that's a bad pick. But Eagles are flying high now, so can't really make fun of what they're doing here. They got AJ Brown. They got what they need to do is, go trade for their wide receivers, or just Devontae was a good pick. But yeah, I love the Eagles this year. Love the Falcons. It's gonna be a crazy conference, man. What else you got?
NFC North too, like you were saying, Lions and Packers, and then. The Vikings are kind of out of it, but
yeah,
Vikings
are toast. Vikings are toast. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. The NFC's deep. There's some ballers in the NFC this year. I think it's gonna be crazy. But it's all about who can beat Patrick Mahomes. Who can beat Patrick Mahomes? I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. He got the refs on his side a little bit. Okay, sure, but doesn't matter. It is what it is. You're not beating Patrick Mahomes. And a 3-peat sounds so reasonable right now. And I'm telling you, we come in here after Mahomes wins a 3-peat, and we're discussing GOAT status. Not is he chasing Tom Brady. We're going to have bickering and arguing and a bunch of people in here absolutely yelling at each other, screaming at each other. That's what it's going to be like. When Mahomes wins his 3rd Super Bowl in a row, we will be having some very tough conversations and debates. Because people are going to say things like, you can't, he doesn't have enough rings. Doesn't matter. Tom Brady didn't do this. Oh, but he had 3 Super Bowls in a row. No one's ever done that. But he doesn't have. Everyone's going to be yelling at each other left and right. But he's done it at such a young age. That should be considered. Okay, well, he's on track to be the GOAT. You just wait. Mahomes is coming for everybody. But I think the NFC's got something to say. It's going to be a fun freaking time this year watching all these teams battle it out. It feels very, very deep this year on both sides of the fence. All right, what else you got, bro?
So, I think I told you my draft situation. I can also call him later, but kind of a smaller question with like Jordan Mason, Braylon Allen. Even though I don't have Brees and I don't have CMC, especially with the CMC doubt with injury, does like Jordan Mason last round sound reasonable? Because like I feel like the upside's there, and I saw news about him possibly taking over Mitchell's role as the RB2.
Yeah. Be careful locking that in because Kyle Shanahan loves Mitchell. Loves him. But I think right now Mason has the job. But I don't think it's something that I almost like drafting, as I said at the top of the show. I don't know if you heard it, but I like drafting both of them. If it's in a big league, like where you have tons of, bench spots, and Mitchell might even qualify for an IR spot, really soon. But Mitchell and Mason together, I have a feeling are starting. One of those guys is starting, or a combination, starting 4 or 5 games this year. I just got a gut feeling that CMC misses some time, but definitely love drafting the both of them. I do. And Garendo, you got to watch and monitor all year because they did draft him for a reason, but he's got to climb up the ranks. He's not going to be handed anything. But I think having both of them is smart. If you own Christian McCaffrey, you better be able to have both cuffs. If you can't, then if your league's too small, your benches are too small, I don't want to hear it. Then you shouldn't be drafting Christian McCaffrey. You need the cuffs. You need them. You don't know which one's the cuff. Right now, Mason's the cuff, but in week 8, who's going to be the cuff? By the time you need the cuff, will Mason still have the job? Mason hasn't stayed healthy. So you got to be very proactive on this. You cannot just let the waiver wire take away your ability to have the starter. You got to take control of your own situation. And if you can't, then don't draft Christian McCaffrey because you need to cuff him. All right, Eddie, call back if you got another one. Later.
I'll get there.
Lucas, you're live.
Yo, Smitty, what's going on, man?
What's up?
So I just got membership on your site, and I did notice that I'm starting to change the way I approach the draft. And I noticed that Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels are significantly up there in regards to your top 200. So what are your thoughts? Because right now I'm thinking going all in on Mahomes, but what are your thoughts in terms of having both Jaden Daniels and Jordan Love? Because I'm huge on the waiver wire, so occupying that bench spot is going to be a lot, right, to stream the QBs. But what are your thoughts in terms of preference? Do you think that having both Love and Daniels will yield better in a redraft league, or just having Mahomes and kind of just scoping out the wire as the season goes on is going to be, the better way to go?
Well, I mean, Mahomes isn't the best pick in fantasy football for nothing. So I think you probably know my answer. The combination of two players isn't going to knock off the best player, the best pick in all of fantasy football. Otherwise, maybe it shouldn't be my best pick in fantasy football. Just to put it that way.
Gotcha.
He's going to throw for 40, 45 touchdowns. He's going to score 45 to 50 total touchdowns. I love Jordan Love. I love Jaden Daniels. If I get sniped on Mahomes or the draft flow just has it to where I just can't take him with the draft slot I have, then Jordan Love and JD5 are waiting there for me. AR5 is waiting there for me. Hurts in round 4 is waiting there for me. So that's why you see 3 QBs on this 5 best picks in 2024. There's tons of ways to win. Tons of ways to skin a cat. More ways to win a league, as we say here on the channel. But this is the best pick in all of fantasy football, Patrick Mahomes. There's no way to argue it in my mind anyway.
Easy peasy. That's the only thing I have for you. Thank you.
All right, bro. But hey, don't be afraid to do different things in different leagues and attack it differently. All right, later, Lucas. Appreciate you. Elvis, you're live.
Later.
Hey, Smitty. Appreciate everything you do. I got a few questions for you. So, how much weight do you put on just the eye test during preseason? Because I got 2 rookies that I'm curious what you have to say about where they go and how they're doing.
Well, I mean, this goes along the lines of a lot of things that I say, case by case. You hear me say that phrase a lot, and that applies with not only the combine, it applies with anything preseason, week 1. At the end of the day, do I think a combine time or a showing in the combine should change someone's mind? No, it should support what you already feel and be kind of like evidence to lock down what you're already thinking. So in the case of the preseason, you can be very much tricked by a certain play or a certain game. Look at the Giants running back Gray. You know, you could see that and go, oh God, he's a sleeper, he's a star. But did you think that before the game played? So my advice is to always allow things to help, I don't know, be an accessory to your thinking, not something that changes your mind. And then in a case where somebody does something positive, like Jordan Love throws a nice, dime to Wicks for a touchdown. If you were high on Wicks and Love prior to that, then that is good supporting evidence for you. But I think when people make mistakes, when they let certain things change their entire thinking. So that you just got to take it case by case. And there's no way to answer that question. If a guy does well in the preseason, like Gray, it might mean nothing. There's so many different variables at play. You just got to, I think it just comes down to experience. Like, what does my experience tell me about watching Gray do that? He's intriguing and I'm going to watch him. But does it mean he's even got a shot? I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, that's where, okay, so watching Marvin Harrison Jr., and I know he's a freak of nature. I know there's no receiver that's been better set up with like his mindset, his physical ability, and just his mastery of the position going into the NFL. He just is just my personal opinion. He doesn't look like the most twitchy, explosive player. He's just really good at football. And so do you think he's going to be more of a prime Devontae Adams type receiver, or do you think he's going to be more like a T.O. type? I'm curious what you think what type of player he's going to be.
Can I have everybody on the phone line? I think Andrew, can you guys mute because there's a lot of background noise. So mute real quick if you could. The answer to that question is I don't think you've watched a lot of Marvin Harrison Jr. Footage lately, because if you think he does, if you're looking at Neighbors and you're thinking, oh, Neighbors looks like he's the best receiver, he's got all this great film. Marvin Harrison Jr. has some great film too. He's been looking fantastic. And to answer your question, they're different receivers for sure, but MHJ is, as Silver just wrote, smooth as silk. He's the smoothest wide receiver of the rookie class by far and away. And his route running spectacular. His ability to cut and maneuver and change directions. I'm trying to find this footage of MHJ right now. Let me pull it up. But MHJ looks unbelievable right now. And I think you're just you haven't seen a lot of what he's been doing. Let me pull it up. Marvin.
That's why I call and ask you,
I like Neighbors a lot, but nothing has changed. There's this footage of Marvin Harrison Jr. He's out there right now. I get why you think this was funny, because we're talking about how this player's not even in the frame anymore when he runs these routes. He is a precision monster. I think what you said about Devontae Adams, though, isn't off base. Like, is he a prime Devontae Adams? Is he a Larry Fitzgerald meets Devontae Adams meets, a bit of a different wide receiver profile than a Neighbors, who's going to profile more like a, dare I say, a Jamar Chase kind of type of player. Like Jamar Chase stretching the field, going downfield, doing tons of great things, could have as expanded of a route tree as he wants. Like Neighbors is not limited by any means. I'm not trying to say that, but neither is MHJ. But MHJ is he's a different receiver. I think the Adams example is good, but was Adams not the number one overall wide receiver in the National Football League for a handful of years? He was. He's very much so. I don't know it's any sort of negative to be like, hey, he plays more like this than he plays like that. Not to mention, you're in a situation where there's so many vacated targets. It's the best situation in the National Football League aside from maybe the Bills, and you could even argue it was as good. MHJ's going to the mother freaking moon. I'm a little bit baffled by the recent reports that I think are feeding some of these fears for people that Neighbors is past MHJ. That people are saying
that's a ridiculous thing to say.
There's a lot of reports saying the Cardinals are going to live to regret not taking Neighbors over MHJ. I think that's just absolutely hilarious. They're two completely different players, and for some reason MHJ is not getting the hype that Neighbors is getting. But Neighbors is also carrying the team by himself, and so it's extra impressive when you're like, oh God, he's got nothing, and he's like just making this crazy play, and he's carrying the team on his back over and over and over. MHJ's in a much more sound offense. They're going to be pretty well. They got a great run game. They've got good supporting wide receivers, believe it or not. Zay Jones and Wilson are actually pretty damn good. They got one of the best, if not the best, up-and-coming tight end in the National Football League. And I think people are just like saying to themselves, like, Neighbors is needed to do everything. MHJ isn't, and I think that's going to make Neighbors better. It's not. MHJ is my number one dynasty wide receiver walking into 2025. And, we'll see him out there, I think, catching 14, 15 touchdowns this year. 13, 14, 15 touchdowns.
My next question then, because on the other end, I just was really blown away by Braylon Allen. That guy is an absolute monster. I've never seen anything like it. I feel like he's the best rookie running back, better than Trey Sermon, just in my eye test.
I don't know if you remember, but my January rookie running back rankings, he was the number one running back, and it wasn't even close. I love Trey Benson, and situation is very important. That's why Trey Benson is now my favorite rookie running back. Braylon Allen can't do anything unless Brees gets hurt, like in terms of being an elite, top-shelf fantasy football running back for the future. He can score 8 to 10 touchdowns, even with Brees Hall completely healthy, because he could be the goal line guy. And Brees Hall barely got any, goal line work anyway, so people shouldn't freak out about that and say, oh my God. But Braylon Allen, if Hall were to get safely abducted by aliens and miss the entire year, Braylon Allen would win leagues. He's a top 10 running back monster. There's a reason that I emphasize this cuff board so much, and that if you want to win your league and you're drafting one of these running back starters, you better have the backup. This is the third best cuffing situation in football. That says a lot about Braylon Allen. So, all right, hey, Elvis, call back. I gotta run pretty soon here, so I gotta roll through these calls. Appreciate you, bro. Andrew Silva, you're live. Go, Andrew. Quick as you can, pal.
What up, Smitty? Just had one quick question. I have a draft coming up, and it is Dynasty League, and I have to turn in my keepers by Friday, and it is non-PPR, and I'm deciding I can't decide whether to keep CeeDee Lamb in the first round or Jonathan Taylor in the fourth.
Okay, CeeDee Lamb in the first round or JT in the fourth. This is a pretty easy call. Lamb chops, in the first round. Let's say you were drafting. Do you know your draft slot or no?
No, not yet. I usually find out after I can turn in the keepers.
So if let's say you end up getting the 12 pick or something, this is going to be very good value, but you don't know. You might get 1, 2, 3, 4 where he's going anyway. And the honest truth is, you take JT in round 4, you let Lamb go. Who are you getting in a worst case scenario in round 1? Like, who are you like? Kyron, MHJ, St. Brown.
No, the word, because based on everybody's keepers that I predict, if I was to draft that high and not go against with Lamb, my best option would be like a Saquon Barkley as a running back.
Well, what I'm saying is in round 1, what wide receiver or what player is going to be there for you for your let's say you get the 10 pick. Who are you likely to get? What are the wide receivers and running backs you're looking at?
Oh, it's like more like a AJ Brown. What's his name? AJ Brown, and then the guy from the Lions of
St. Brown. Let me ask you a question, because this is, like I said, this is a very easy answer for me. And I don't know why people struggle with this, and I'm not saying this in a negative way to you. I'm just trying to emphasize. I don't know why people struggle with these kinds of questions that much. What's better? What's better, St. Brown and JT, or just CeeDee Lamb? What's better, AJ Brown and JT, or just CeeDee Lamb? I don't understand. I don't understand, huh?
I say CeeDee Lamb because he's gonna get nothing but targets like last year that he was.
I don't understand how you'd even say that. AJ Brown and JT over one player. I don't care if it's Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, CMC. AJ Brown and JT over one player. AJ Brown could be top 5 overall player. JT could be a top 5 to 7 overall player. To me, it's not even close. It's not even close, man. CeeDee's holding out. You know, there's risk of injury there. I know you like CeeDee Lamb. You're a big CeeDee Lamb fan. I get it. But, bro, AJ Brown and JT crush the hell out of CeeDee Lamb. Let's say one of these guys goes down. You still have a fighting chance 1-for-1. Like, this is diversifying your portfolio. If a JT goes down for the year, you still have AJ Brown competing with CeeDee Lamb to try and make this a good decision. When you have both of them, you're blowing people out of the water. Like, it's head scratching to me when people don't see. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, Andrew. I love you, pal. I'm not saying this at you. I'm just saying in general, I don't see how people look at the name CMC, I keep him around 1, Lamb, I keep him around round 1, and they don't play it out on the board and say, if I was to keep JT in 4, now the only thing you got to ask yourself is who you getting in 4. So if it's Lamb, and we're assuming that 4 is really round 5, one could say, hey, Smitty, JT and AJ Brown versus Lamb in this 4th round player. Let's say you get a trying to think of an RB that would fall there. Let's say you get a Walker that falls, and Kenneth Walker may not fall that far, but let me just, play it out to a worst case scenario for you if you were to regret this decision. Lamb and Walker versus AJB and JT. I mean, in the worst of scenarios, it's going to be even. If for whatever reason this 4th round pick ends up being a gold mine and you just trip and fall into something. The other thing I would say is, like, let's say you were to go with a Mahomes, or I don't think he would last, but let's say for some reason Hurts fell to your 4th round pick. That's probably not possible in your league, right?
Well, no, in this league, it's a 2-man keeper league, and my
2-man keeper league.
Mahomes. Yeah, I got Mahomes in the last round. So
even more so, the 4th round. Yeah, no, the 4th round is going to feel like the 6th round, bro. You're telling me that you'd rather have CeeDee Lamb and the 6th round player over AJB and JT? I don't know. It's a smash, bro. Do what you got.
And I just thought I had to ask.
Do what you got to do with it. Yeah, do what you got to do with it. I mean, look, I can't say somebody keeping Lamb is being ridiculous, but I just think you're getting 2 top 12 players in a lot of people's eyes in JT and AJ Brown. Part of me wonders, Andrew, if you could even trade JT for, something more. Like, I love Kyron, I love Gibbs, I love Achane and something. I wonder if you could even trade JT on the high, because I very much love Achane more than JT personally, especially if you cuff him. Andrew, I'm not trying to be hard on you. I'm just trying to make sure you think about what the 2 teams would look like. You got to.
Yeah, I totally understand. And that's why I call for other people's advice and stuff like that.
I mean, am I wrong, guys? AJB and JT crushes what's going to end up being that 4th round player. Is that anybody in the 4th round? If you get the 4th round back, you don't write JT into the 4th round. That's like a 6th round pick. So you're talking about Lamb in round 1 and a 6th round type player, or JT and AJ Brown. Am I wrong? I just want to make sure that Chad agrees with me. I can't imagine they don't agree. Especially, bro, Lamb is holding out right now. The risk of injury is going up by the day.
That was the main concern in my head too. That's why I was kind of fading him away.
I gotta go. I gotta clear the phone line off. Appreciate you, Andrew. Calling tonight. Appreciate you, bro. Calling tonight. I'll be live.
I will do. All right.
I need you on the night streams more. You come in here a lot. I love having you here in the day on the evening stream, but we need you on the night stream. Andrew, to the moon. Real quickly, Casey, you got like 30 seconds. I gotta run.
All right, sorry, Smitty. So I don't know if you remember how I told you about my Bijan situation.
No, I don't.
With the first round keeper.
I don't.
So here is the thing. I instead of keeping Bijan, I have the first pick. I can take him. But what do you think is a better keeper, Drake London in the 3rd or Dalton Kincaid at 11? Because I'm keeping Bijan I take Bijan at 1, and I'm keeping HN at 10. What do you think is the better start of a draft? To keep Drake London at 3, and it's an 8-man league too. With
Kincaid, because I truly believe that Tank Dell and Deebo and those guys can be just as valuable. I love London.
Really?
Yeah, I love London, but
because that's what I was thinking. That London, Bijan, 1, 2.
Who do you?
Okay.
Same thing with Marco. Who you if you let London go? What potential names are there in round 3? Is Dell available in this keeper format in that round 3?
Yes, Dell is available.
So
the person that
Could Dell outscore London?
Yeah, he could. He really could.
So this is the kind of stuff that goes through my head. Give me the free, the absolute free, practically free Kincaid. All right, I got to go. Later, Casey. Call him tonight. Jimmy 44 just dropped out. I was going to Jimmy next. Rock out. You're live. Go. 30 seconds. Got to run.
No, you're good.
Rock out. Rock out's in the building. Appreciate you, Rock out. Rock out to the moon. I'll see you tonight, Rock out. Calling tonight. I got to run. Appreciate you. I'll be back. I went live early to make sure I had at least an hour and a half show for you guys. I'll see you tonight. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you to all my super chatters, my gifted members. Gifted memberships by Ron Navy. He gifted 20. We got, do we have any 5ers? I don't think we have any 5ers. Ron Navy gifting 20 memberships. He said he was going to drop another 20 if we hit a 200 likes, but the 300 people in here decided not to hit the thumb up button, and you would have got a gifted membership from Ron Navy most likely. Thank you to my, so hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. Thank you, Jedi. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, E-Rock. Oh, E-Rock, he asked me a question earlier on something. E-Rock, you still here? Let me see. E-Rock, you still here? What was E-Rock's question? E-Rock, you still here? E-Rock, if you're here, do me a favor and re-ask your question in the comments, E-Rock, and then put a bunch of like exclamation points next to it, red emojis, and I will answer your question. Thank you, Jedi. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, E-Rock. Thank you, Matt C. Thank you, That Boy. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Lewis, Nicholas, Ron Navy, Interest, Sean, Ryan, Caden, Ron Navy with a 20, Adam, Interest, Caden, Alex, Big Ant, Adrian, Cheryl, Edward, SGT, Icy, and Ron Navy and Edward with two $20 haulers. Appreciate you all. E-Rock, please put your message in the chat. In the comments on the video when the video is posted, please put it in the comment section, not in the live chat, in the comment section of this video, and put a bunch of like red exclamation points, and E-Rock, I will answer your question. For some reason it wasn't showing up when I pulled it on screen. See you all later. Appreciate you.